home at last. To look after the continental imports, who earn on average perhaps £60,000 a year, and the British riders, both amateur and professional, were the support cars, one for every team. But once the start was given, all the professionals took a back seat, as with 126 miles still to go, Johannes Dreyer, a Dutch amateur from Friesland, set his sights on Galway. Dreyer had hoped to be joined by others, but instead he was left alone to build a lead of 12 minutes. Not even the carrot of former world champion Jerry Knetterman, another Dutchman, could inspire the favourites to take part. The young Dutchman, at least, was sweeping up the prizes offered along the route. But with 4 more days to go, the professionals would be the first to say he was riding like an amateur. Sean Kelly was content to keep main rivals such as Steve Bauer, the Canadian, Greg LeMond, the American, and Anderson of Australia near him in the pack. So on this opening day, it was left to new professional Kane Theakston from Worcester to try. And after Dreyer had been ahead for almost 80 miles, he gave his chase. Dreyer was clearly tiring. He had already done enough to lead the race in 2 minor classifications, but Galway was still 25 miles away. Theakston, injured in this year's milk race, now back on form as a new professional, wasted no time. The freshness of his 21 years, and he wasn't in any mood to wait for Dreyer. But with Galway on the wet horizon, the whole field were stringing themselves out in pursuit. And Theakston's effort lasted only for 8 miles. And with rain now falling, the complete field caught him up. There was now just 17 miles to go to Galway, and everybody was back together. For the first 4 riders to finish every day, there are time bonuses of 10, 8, 6 and 4 seconds, and this could prove vital. And so with the field all together, the yellow jerseys and teammates of Sean Kelly were working hard to keep the Irish leader in touch. The finishing circuit in Galway's narrow streets was glacial and very treacherous. Could Phil Anderson hold off with this late attack? And with 1 lap to go now, Anderson is all but caught by those men in yellow. They're the teammates. And now Stefan Yoho, Stefan Mutter, and of course Sean Kelly are leading the charge up towards Phil Anderson. But look how this field is split, and this is because the circuit here in the wet has become so dangerous. The riders now are torn between courage and just letting this race ride away from them. The field is split on this final 2 miles. It's done something that 126 miles has failed to do today.
Yes, I think the circuit is going to make an awful lot of damage to certain riders. Those riders who weren't in the front of the group coming into the circuit are going to find themselves tonight already at 25 and 30 seconds on after the first day.
One thing about that cast uniform, you're always in the yellow jersey when you ride for Cass Guinness.
That's very true, Jimmy, but I wonder if Sean Kelly will be trading that in for a yellow jersey in a few minutes' time. He's right where it matters now. He'll be very, very relieved indeed that Phil Anderson has been brought back into this leading group. But as you can see, the Panasonic boys in blue are dictating this race pattern. It could well be that the attack by Anderson has drawn the sting of the Cass men, because that's the way it appears at the minute. And still in there, I can see a green jersey of Ireland. That is Cormac McCann, I believe, down there from Northern Ireland. And McCann is a man who came back from the Commonwealth Games in Edinburgh with a bronze medal.
I think Kelly has 2 teammates there, and Panasonic, there are 2 or 3 Panasonic riders there also. So I think it's going to be a very, very big fight for the finish.
So we're going to pick the winner out of either Cass or Panasonic. It's looking like it, but André van der Poel is among those who are on the forefront as well.
There's Steve Bauer, there's Dun van Vliet. I think Dun van Vliet's possibly riding out for Anderson. I think if Anderson is still in the group.
Malcolm Elliott and Phil Thomas are there as well. And Cormac McCann just moved out the picture.
Well, he's riding a magnificent race, and all hats off to him today, because this is the day to do it in these conditions. 22 riders competing here for the finishing line now. The yellow flag inside 200 metres to go now, and it looks like Eric van der Orden is on the front. Eric van der Orden from Belgium and Panasonic. Kelly in second place, and look at Kelly shake his head. He'll be absolutely disgusted there. Pipped on the line in the city of Galway, where he wanted to come home for a victory, but it's Eric van der Orden who gets it, and what a great win that really was.
And how he loves to beat Kelly in those tight sprints. Van der Orden won it all right. Kelly second, Yoho third.
And as Jimmy McGee said there, a victory for Van der Orden, Sean Kelly taking only second place. Johannes Dreyer, by the way, finished the day a happy, tired 26th. The second day introduced not just some of Ireland's postcard countryside, but also the climbs of Corkscrew Hill and the Cliff of Moher, and this during the 100 miles from Galway to Limerick. And immediately the race started, Dennis Erdvelt from Belgium and Irish amateur Aidan Harrison in the green built a lead. And it was a lead that soon approached 5 minutes. Yet once again the field seemed to see no danger. In warm sunshine, Aidan Harrison found the near-veteran Erdveld a little unwilling to totally commit himself with the hills still to come. But for Harrison, a promising international with a rare chance to race against a pack of cyclists valued well over £1 million, he was out to do his best. And by the time Corkscrew Hill and the Cliffs of Moher were reached, the bunch had lost over 8 minutes to the two leaders. But there was still 60 miles to go. Remember Johannes Dreyer yesterday? For the first time on Irish roads, the whole peloton, the bunch, chased these two men.
Coming then to the second frame, King of the Hills, King of the Mountains. The Cliffs of Moher won, and obviously it's one of these is going to take it. Is Harrison going to try again?
And this time I think Aidan Harrison has measured his effort far better than he did on Corkscrew Hill. He's not gone from the bottom and done all the work by himself. He's gone up this climb of the Cliffs of Moher alongside Erdveld. Erdveld now knows that this young man from Dublin is far the better rider on the mountains. He lets him go up to the summit. Harrison here bags the all-important points, and this means now that Aidan Harrison tomorrow will wear the red-spotted jersey as leader of the King of the Mountains.
16 points on the KOM today for him, so if the instructions to Harrison from Brendan Madden were go for the mountains, he has certainly done the job. Well done, Aidan.
They probably closed up during the hot spot, so hopefully it's in the feed anyway. Here's the hill. Okay. I can try it later on. I know, yeah. Kamikaze job.
Well, suicide? Harrison knows professional riders well. They rarely waste energy. But when they've made up their mind, you can see why some are millionaires. By the outskirts of Limerick, they had caught up. Harrison was first, and then Erdvelt surrendered with 12 miles to go. So it was back to the bunch, and the sprint bonuses for the first four to finish.
Now, is the Guinness Cast team assembling for this finish to get Kelly in. It looks like it's Stephen.
Sean Kelly is riding very, very strongly on the front there. It's like the whole group is riding like a train, but I think Sean Kelly is doing the locomotive because he's really, really driving this bunch.
Well, Kelly, of course, has managed to slip here, Van der Orden and Phil Anderson, but look at that bunch now as they sweep them up. Everybody's coming back together now, and it's all going to be on this final last circuit of the city. We've got to go through Limerick finishing line in O'Connell Street once more yet. And I don't think there's anybody left in Limerick who isn't watching the Nissan Classic today. Sean Yates now. Yates having a go. The former British 5,000 metres champion, fresh from a win in Norway just a few weeks ago. And Sean Yates comes through to take the bell, and he's clear on his own. That's the field coming round now into O'Connell Street, and it's being strung out there by the riders on the front. What a great finish this is being, and I'm sure Stephen Roach you'd like to be in there now.
Certainly, I'd love to be. At the moment, my heart is going out to all these riders because I'm saying to myself, what's he doing wrong? If I was there, I would do this, or I would do that. It's really fantastic.
Yates from Anderson from Miller. It's just 200 metres from that last corner up to the finishing line. Yates is going to be swallowed up. The bunch are assembled behind him. The Panasonics are congregating. The Guinness Cats are congregating, and there's the break, and it looks like Steve Bauer.
And that's Steve Bauer taking a flyer on the inside. They've swept Yates up, and Bauer's going for home. This is the rider, of course, who very often finds himself riding in the shadow of Greg LeMond, his Laviclaire teammate. But it seems as though LeMond isn't on the good form for the Nissan Classic, and it's the Canadian rider Bauer now having one of the rare chances of his lifetime to get out in front and try and win the day. He's joined by Jacques Hanegraaff, last year's champion of Holland, and Steve Jones tucked in nicely there for the ANC Ireland squad.
So Steve Jones for ANC Ireland trying to deliver the goods, so there's Steve Jones up front. Well, we're baking up for a great finish in Limerick. It's going to be a sensational one. Who's going to take it? Who's going to join the battle? Can Kelly get up for the big points? Look at this for a battle.
And Bauer crosses the line there, punches the air on the left of the picture. Steve Bauer has produced a fabulous spin. Hanegraaff will be second. Steve Jones is third, and the sprint for, I think we just caught a glimpse there of Eric van der Orden, the yellow jersey, again pipping Sean Kelly on the line, and I think Malcolm Elliott will be just behind. That's the way they've crossed the line, and what a finish for the Canadian, because he's going to remember that one for a long, long time to come. And not just the victory, because the 10 seconds win bonus also gave Bauer the leader's yellow jersey, the first time he's ever led a major professional event. Day 3 was split into two parts. The first from Tralee to Killarney was 56 miles and included the feared crossing of the Gap of Dunlow and Moll's Gap in the Kerry Mountains. And the second part onwards from Killarney to Cork, a ride of 62 miles finishing on St. Patrick's Hill, a brute of a climb with a 1 in 4 gradient. In the morning first, 4 riders set the trend by breaking clear before the race went through Killarney for the first time. John Herity in yellow, Joey McLaughlin, John Bogus from Holland and the Dane Kim Anderson. And once on the daunting climb of the Gap of Dunlow, Anderson and milk race winner Joey McLaughlin went ahead. For the first time, the favourites should be worried. The gap is 9 miles long, and the road so poorly surfaced, the riders were always concerned about flat tyres. John Herity here and Jon Bogus were concerned about keeping up. The pack behind chased well, and among those in trouble eventually was McLaughlin in the front, who punctured to leave Anderson well clear by the time the leaders reached the top of Moll's Gap. The early break by the original 4 men seems to have caused a lot of damage, and Phil Anderson, Steve Bauer were more concerned now with the whereabouts here of the leader Kim Anderson. The crowd, who'd gone right out into the ring of Kerry, had expected to see the yellow jersey of Steve Bauer or the green points jersey of Sean Kelly. Instead it was the Dane. Ahead of him now, just 8 miles, mostly downhill, to the finish in Killarney. And with Sean Kelly on the front, leading the best of the rest, it was the Dane Kim Anderson now who was springing the surprise of the race so far. He hasn't won a race since April the 1st this year. And victory at any time of the year is sweet, and Kim Anderson comes home into Killarney again before a massive crowd. And in 2 short years, cycling in this country has really taken off. No complaints either by any rider about the Gap of Dunlow, only its gradient, not the surface. And so, with a break of only 1.5 hours, the riders set off again, this time towards Cork. And after a couple of hours of resting on their laurels, Phil Anderson decided to have an attack. And what a good move it was. Anderson glanced over his shoulder, saw he'd been given the gap, and with just a few miles to go to Cork, and then 4 climbs of the vicious St. Patrick's Hill, Anderson was hoping for victory. Remember, this is Anderson of Australia, not Andersen of Denmark, who won this morning. At long last, Phil Anderson, dogged by injury all season, was back in the saddle doing what he loves best. First time on the hill, and Kelly's anxious to pull back the rated Australian. And the green jersey there, it looks like to me, it looks, oh, that's Sean Kelly, and he's slipped his gears, a rider's hit him. Now this is disaster. Kelly, on the first approach up the climb, is in all sorts of trouble, and that's the second time today that Sean Kelly has been off his bike and is looking for help from a teammate.
He's in trouble. There's no service there. There's no service there for Kelly. Now, can he recover? Look at the number of riders that have gone by him. This is a vital stage for the big man from Carrick. He's got to be up in the big finish today, and he's got a bike from one of his teammates there. A little bit of mayhem behind him.
Jimmy, this is absolute chaos at the bottom of St. Patrick's Hill. In fact, Sean Kelly was shoved off there by 2 teammates. I think one was Acacio de Silva, and the other one was Jörg Muller. And Muller came to his rescue earlier this morning when he punctured. So while Kelly is in all sorts of difficulty at the back of the race, and no doubt Steve Bowers noticed it, we're back with Phil Anderson.
This really reminds me of a race like the Tour de Flanders in Belgium, whereas in this hill, there's Paul Kimmage on the front now, going for a very, very fine placing on the King of the Hills position.
Yes, Paul Kimmage from the 4 team, leading them through then. He'll be pleased with that, and so will his team. So, that was a disaster there for the Irish superstar Sean Kelly, but the teammates, or one of them, gave him a bike. It looked like 2 of them might have been offering a bike, but Kelly's back, and now he's got to pursue.
And there is Kelly, the second rider in green, in fact, going through. Kelly has a lot of work to do now. He still has 3 full circuits of the course to go, and a lot of work to do to make up ground on the leading riders. Never mind Anderson. What about Bauer? He's well in front now.
So, the situation now is that Kelly and co have gone pursuing Anderson and Doyle. They've gone up the old Yall Road. They'll turn at Dillon's Cross and down Ballyhooly. We're looking at the top of the start-finish at Patrick's Hill. The group, the bunch has been fragmented. It looks like Anderson is away. The word coming back is he's thundering along at tremendous pace. Doyle is doing his best, and here indeed we do pick up Phil Anderson, and the car clocks are showing in excess of 48 miles an hour.
Phil is really taking some fantastic risks on this descent now, coming down to the Patrick's Hill again. I don't know where he gets this, how he can get the speed up, but he's really, really going for it today, I think. Really flying.
So Anderson searches for the gears now. He knows when he swings right here for the second climb up the hill, the same place where Kelly slipped his gears and fell off. It's a very, very steep beginning, and there you see the problems. Anderson almost in the back there of Pat McQuaid's car. He's gone safely through, down to the lower gears now, and urged on by the crowd who have come here on St. Patrick's Hill to watch a battle, and my goodness me, they're getting one. Anderson is hanging on now to a lead of 1 minute and 2 seconds, and the rider chasing him, Tony Doyle, and the dramatic chase behind, because Sean Kelly is still having to cut his way through the riders who are ahead of him after that fall to try and make contact once again with Bauer. Well, here we have Tony Doyle riding valiantly up the climb. Watch his back wheel here, because last time up this climb it was slipping violently. He lost complete traction on the tread, and Tony Doyle grits his teeth, and he shows what a great bike rider he really is.
Tony Doyle is possibly one of the best professionals on the English circuit. He rides for Everready in England, and now he's riding for the Everready Ireland team now in Ireland, and really putting on a good show.
gives it his all, as Stephen says, an excellent professional, and his sponsors and his teammates get 100% effort and return, and a professional cannot furnish more than that.
2 more laps to go, and Doyle looking at his wristwatch there. He's trying to indicate to the crowd, tell me the gap, and his teammate, or rather his team coach, Mick Bennett, who guided him to the gold medal in Colorado Springs a couple of weeks ago, is saying 1 minute and 1 second. Now we're back, and Kelly has got through to the front, and Jimmy, that is a marvellous ride by Sean Kelly. What a great ride.
Fantastic, marvellous stuff from Kelly. It really is tremendous for him.
There's Paul Kimmage in the front, really putting in a great ride. I'd really even say it's helping Sean Kelly try and gain back on the leaders. He's really doing fantastic, Paul Kimmage.
Meantime, Phil Anderson is still out there on the beat. Back to the bunch again, the chasing bunch.
And you can see Martin Early on the far right here. He's having a go now. Another man from Dublin. We still have 2 full circuits of the course to go. Malcolm Elliott leads Sean Kelly round the corner. Bauer, the leader in yellow, now finds Kelly alongside him once again. Those 2 riders separated, don't forget, by just 6 seconds. 2 men out in front, but the 3rd man to finish will take a 6-second time bonus.
Different teams, but it was significant there, Stephen, that Martin Early and Paul Kimmage looked to be helping Sean Kelly back up there into the vanguard.
But Sean had no teammates with him, unfortunately, and a teammate at the end of the day is who's the teammate. When there's no teammates left, you must look to the nearest thing. If it's a fellow Irishman, well, it's even more important. Oh, that's not on Eric van der Arden. We saw it.
Well, we saw Eric van der Arden grabbing onto a bike wheel there. He was the winner, don't forget, of the first stage in Galway, and now in all sorts of trouble at the back of the race. But this rider isn't. This rider is very well, thank you, climbing the hill yet again for the 3rd time. Music in his ears at the top, because it will be the bell for Phil Anderson. 1 more punishing climb of St. Patrick's Hill to come, and still he holds the gap of a shade over 1 minute over Tony Doyle. But the news is that Kelly, Bauer and all the others are getting closer.
And Chris Lillywhite is up there, we believe, too. But the crowd have heard on the PA that Kelly has worked his way back up. We did see that ourselves. We saw the visual evidence. And so he's chasing what is a very important stage for him. The buzz around was, there's the bell, the last lap, the bell lap for Phil Anderson. 1 more time around this finishing circuit in Cork. And Phil Anderson goes off to take it.
Phil Anderson has been about 12 miles now in front. I'm sure at this point in the race, starting to feel certain have sore legs.
But he should be getting tired. But when we saw him climbing there, Stephen, he looked as strong as when he entered Cork.
He is definitely, but Phil is, like I said before, he has no style at all. Everything is just courage, brute force.
And the rider who pushes him all the way, and Anderson knows if he gives an inch, then this man will catch him, Tony Doyle. He lost his chance of winning the Nissan Classic on the very first day. You may remember his hand went up at the back of the bunch, just 3 miles from the end of Galway in the rain, and Doyle was behind and chasing with a flat back tyre. So his chance is gone, and Doyle gambling now on at least a good position on the stage.
So Tony Doyle is in 2nd place. Behind him, there's a great battle going on. Malcolm Elliott, we believe, Van Fleet, Lillywhite, Bauer, and Kim Anderson, this morning's winner. Now Doyle goes in pursuit. That's a word that rings very true in his ears, I'm sure. Martin Early from the Fager team. Martin from Dublin leading them up here. Look at Kelly significantly back there, the big man in the green points jersey.
You can really appreciate that the power is on now. Like, Sean is going very, very well, and still he's only lying in 4th place, and his tongue hanging out, he's gritting his teeth, like, really suffering he is. The power is really on now after Anderson.
And what a quality group this really is now in that red polka dot jersey. First of all, let's talk of Martin Early from Dublin, a winner this year in the Tour of Italy, now coming home as a very successful professional, being trailed there by the man in that red polka dot jersey, Van Fleet. He's gone great today, consolidating his lead in the King of the Mountains. Then next in the white, Adrie van der Poel. Kelly tucked in nicely in green. Elliott in white on the right, and the yellow jersey of Steve Bauer there as well. They are the men of this year's Nissan, Steve.
Bauer hasn't left Sean Kelly's wheel all day. I think if you have a nightmares tonight, got the green jersey, yeah.
So it's the green points jersey leading the overall and general classification yellow jersey. Kelly from Bauer, the check around. It's unlikely now that anybody is going to bring back Phil Anderson. It looks like a Phil Anderson stage win in Cork unless Doyle can catch him. But there's very important positions going on behind them. We join this mighty man from Australia who's been a power, a magnificent power. This is one of the very best rides we've seen in a long, long time.
And Jimmy, as we watch Anderson climb towards the summit here, let's not forget that Doyle should take second place as well. And look at the crowd here shouting home a real hero today in Phil Anderson. But the man that takes third place is what we should look for. 6 seconds, don't forget, is a bonus time. If Kelly can take that, he could well be in yellow tonight.
Without the use of computer, he could be in it tonight. We'll have to wait and see for that, but there's no doubt Phil Anderson has only just a part of St. Patrick's Hill to go, and he'll be acclaimed and cheered and applauded. He sees the finishing line in sight now. Phil Anderson, the big man from Australia, claps his own hands first and raises both to the thin air. Yes, what a winner. What a magnificent stage winner. Phil Anderson can afford the smile. Oh, that was a wonderful piece of cycle racing. Now, who are we going to see next? We're going to see, I do believe, and it is, Tony Doyle. The man has been chasing Anderson since Blarney, chased him round the circuit here in Cork, and Tony Doyle blows a kiss to the heavens as he comes over and takes the checkered flag. Now, who's going to take that significant third place? Malcolm Elliott is getting ready. So is Van Fleet. So is Barr. They're all there. Look at Big Kelly there, gritting his teeth, biting his tongue almost. Who's going to take it? This is a backbreaker up St. Patrick's Hill. Kim Anderson is there as well. Bauer is strongly in as well. Everyone wants to help. Everyone wants to applaud. Everyone wants to push. It's Elliott battling up there too. It's Van Fleet. Kelly comes on the left of your picture. Has a look. He's taken it. Yes, he's third. Is it enough? But Kelly is third, and that's a big one for the big man from Carrick-on-Shore. Malcolm Elliott is fourth, Van Fleet is fifth, Chris Lilly White is sixth, and Steve Barr in the yellow jersey is seventh.
Victory then for Phil Anderson in the best possible manner by himself. But Sean Kelly, who was third, is the new leader. Equal on time as Steve Bauer, but ahead because he has the better daily finish total. There's no narrower margin possible with 2 days to go, beginning with day 4 from Cork to Clonmel, a stage of 102 miles along a route that passes through Kelly's hometown of Carrick-on-Shore. At first it was Tour de France winner Greg LeMond making one of his very rare appearances at the front, and by the time the day is over, LeMond will have given up, accused by Bauer, his teammate, of laziness. And instead the race found 4 new adventurers. This time it was Dave Mann on the front from the rally team. Behind him in yellow, Sean Kelly's teammate Jörg Müller from Switzerland, and the other 2 riders, Paul Verschoor of Belgium and Robert Miller of the Panasonic team, sat there at the back. At the feeding station, their lead was already into double figures, over 10 minutes. And Müller even finds time to speak to Dave Mann. The answer's in the negative, whatever it was. With Kelly's team represented here by Müller, the obvious orders from the manager is to slow down and wait for Sean Kelly. And the same could apply too to Robert Miller here sitting at the back, because none of these riders now are dreaming of taking the lead away from their own men. Back in the pack, Sean Kelly with a new yellow jersey, which doesn't seem to fit. And just behind him in green, the man who's shadowed him all the way since we left Dublin, Steve Bauer of Canada. Equal on time, remember, but split by points. And there's a huge crowd, population 5,000 in Carrick-on-Shore, and it seems every one of them has turned out to welcome Sean Kelly home. The race is passing through because Clonmel is still a short bike ride away. But on this particular day, first of all, they have to climb Seskin Hill. It's a hill that Sean Kelly used to train up, and that was before he became a millionaire. And the 3 leaders, because Dave Mann has been dropped, are still making progress. This very, very steep climb, used last year in the same event, was crucial then, and it appears to be crucial now. But Robert Miller at the back is a climber, and it really should suit him. Jörg Müller of Switzerland, Kelly's teammate, keeps the pace up. Paul Verschoor is second over the climb, and in third place comes Miller. Quite clearly, Miller is thinking of teammate Phil Anderson, still in the pack. And as the riders come down into Clonmel for the first time, Stephen Roach observes a familiar race pattern.
The same thing has happened over the last 2 or 3 days. A group has gotten to 2 or 3, 20 minutes maybe sometimes, 15 minutes other times, but today they got 14 minutes and they're coming back very quickly.
Now they're changing direction, they're moving in that narrow and out through Sean Kelly Square. Sean Kelly Square, yes, that man is named after there, the man in the yellow jersey, and that's where he'll bring his rivals and his fellow guests in Ireland this week. These are already on the road to Clonmel, and Bershore is beginning to grimace.
We see Robert Miller having a bite to eat behind now.
So they're out of Carrick-on-Shore, and next it's Clonmel in County Tip. The bunch in hot pursuit, they've been averaging nearly 25 miles per hour today, and very soon there shall be upon the 3 breakaways. There's Martinelli just right of a picture. In fact, these guys now know that the game is up. They've been there for over 80 miles today, and they know now that that's the end of that for them.
Yes, Jimmy, they've had a very long innings. They've had over 80 miles in the front. This is the picture of the bunch now with Sean Yates is there. Sean's having a very good ride today.
There's Kieran Tannum there, our cameraman. Kieran, who had that accident the other day coming down the Cliffs of Moher descent. We're glad to see him back in action and producing, like Fergal Costello, some beautiful pictures as Michael Fitzgerald is up aloft. Well, they've been gobbled up, and now the race is on to Clonmel. And if we thought the crowds were big in Carrick, the word Pat McQuaid is that they're going to be huge to welcome back Kelly and co to Clonmel. And of course, it was into Clonmel last year that he produced that fabulous time trial.
That's right, that's the road that they've just ridden in, the road that time trial was ridden on. And now they're arriving onto the circuit in Clonmel when they turn left and down to the river, along by the river, and then up into the finishing straight. Some tricky roads here, but Kelly's got all his teammates at the front of the bunch now. There's a hotspot Preem on the finish line in Clonmel, and Kelly is going to be very worried about that because he will want to take the bonus sprints for winning that hotspot Preem. Bauer leading into the finishing straight, followed by Kelly, followed by Da Silva.
Look at the reception for these great professional racers as they come into Clonmel, into O'Connell Street in Clonmel. Marvellous reception for them, and it's Kelly in yellow. Bauer just eases off. Nice touch. Sean Kelly coming through, takes the hop, and that's very valuable seconds for him.
That puts him in the lead, actually, on overall classification. He's got 3 seconds lead now over Bauer, those bonus points that he got.
Yes, that's a very good moment for him. It's going to be a very good moment, too, for the O'Gorman brothers, Dick and Anthony, coming through their hometown here in Clonmel. 2 Irish amateurs. Well, now they're going to face up Knock Lucas. And this is we thought Seskin Hill was a bad one, so is Knock Lucas. And if there are any complaints about it, please direct them to Pat McQuaid.
Well, I don't know about that. It's a stiff climb. It's a very, very difficult climb. 2 very hard hairpins, tight hairpins at the bottom, and then it drags up for about 1.5 miles, and a very, very difficult descent. Quite fast and quite tricky.
Stephen, at stage start this morning, it was the one question I heard asked of you at least a dozen times by the riders. What is the Clonmel Hill like? To which you replied,
well, it's almost like the Cork Hill in Seskin Hill and Carrick-on-Shore, but I hear it's even worse. But I think it is even worse. And it looks like at the moment here, you can see the first 20 riders going over it on the hairpin corners. They're actually practically stopped here going around the corners. It's not like the gap of Malls gap here yesterday, but it's really, really hard.
it's like indeed Corkscrew Hill in reverse, Pat.
Yes, the gradient at the bottom is difficult to see from the helicopter shot, but the gradient's about a 1 in 4, which is very steep. Difficult even to walk up, and then as they go on, it stretches out and it levels off a little bit. But as we can see, they're all out of the saddle. It's only very, very narrow, very difficult to pass riders. There's one of the Thor riders there, Jonathan Boye from America there, just at the back of the group. Very, very difficult to get by. It means being at the front. There, even Paul Verschure there having trouble with his gears.
But the 2 jerseys, the 2 main jerseys, you see there, in fact, the 3 main jerseys. Green, yellow, polka dot, all together there. So the big boys will out, no matter whether it's on the flat or wherever it is. And Paul Kimmage going strongly up there as well. And We know that the Cade Mille-Falch was for everybody, and for Greg LeMond, the Tour de France winner, the former world champion Greg LeMond. But Martin nearly there in a little bit of trouble, but Martin's okay. I was mentioning Greg LeMond, Pat. The Tour de France couldn't tame him, the World Championships couldn't tame him, but this hill at Knocklucas has put him out of the Nissan.
Yeah, sport has it now that Greg LeMond started the hill of Knocklucas, and halfway up it he just climbed off his bike, turned around and went home. Went back to the hotel. So he seemingly has retired from this race today.
And that's a strange one, because as they come back in here to Clonmel, Stephen, just to refer to the Greg LeMond story, it now leaves Steve Barr with only 2 teammates, because Ericsson was out of the race ill. Let's remind ourselves who is in there. Kiefel is there, De Silva, Martin Early, Paul Kimmage, Joey McLaughlin, Doom Van Fleet, Phil Anderson, the daredevil Phil Anderson who won yesterday's stage, and of course Sean Kelly.
And De Silva, Acacio De Silva, a teammate of Sean Kelly's there, attacking as they go through with just 4 miles of racing left. On up through Irishtown, under the West Gate. The finish today is absolutely majestic. The riders sprint right up through the West Gate and out into Irishtown before going out onto the circuit.
The figure that most of them have come to see, and what a debt indeed the sport of cycling in general and the people of the county of Tipperary in particular owe to Sean Kelly, because surely without his presence we would not have crowds like this.
That's true. The sport in Ireland owes Sean Kelly a great deal, and I think not just the sport of cycling but sport in general owes Sean Kelly a great deal.
Now Phil Anderson, Sean Kelly, Steve Bauer, Andre Van der Poel, it's Anderson. Anderson is jumping, Stephen.
It's actually on the descent, Jimmy. A few days ago said Phil Anderson was a very, very hardy man. He's taken some terrible risks. I think today we can see there's Sean Kelly now in second place chasing Anderson. He must know that Phil Anderson's having a go now.
And Bauer just behind Kelly, but look at Anderson go. Downhill, this tremendous descent, and you really need bravery, you need courage, and perhaps you need just a touch of madness. But that's Phil Anderson. He's touching 60 miles an hour. It's fantastic. Phil Anderson in the lead, going for a back-to-back stages. He must break later than anybody else in the world, Stephen. And where's Sean Kelly gone? Where is Kelly? There's Steve Bauer. The word is that Kelly is off the bike, but the word again is that he's remounted.
This is disastrous for Kelly, Jimmy, because if Bauer can gain any time on him, any more than 3 seconds, he's going to take the jersey from him. But it looks like Anderson is still on his own, it's still clear. Being chased now by Bauer and the other Anderson, the La Claire rider, Kim Anderson.
Yes, but Kelly is okay. Kelly's back up and running, riding, driving, pushing, trying to get up there, trying to defend that yellow jersey. It's very important to him. That's 2 near disasters in 2 days. As Anderson drives on, this powerful Australian, the big man coming through, and here he comes into O'Connell Street in Clonmel. The PA blares it out. We're still looking for Sean Kelly, and here he comes. He's made the turn back. It looks like Anderson's going to take the stage. He claps hands, he punches a pistol. Boys have done it. That's 1 and 1, 2 and 2, and a great battle. It looks like Steve Bauer and Kim Anderson. Bauer's next. Where's Kelly? Kelly's coming up for 4th place. That's a sensational 4th for Sean Kelly. And he's injured. Kelly is injured. There's blood on his forehead. There's some cuts on Kelly. He certainly felt the brunt of that fall, but he takes a fabulous 4th. Phil Anderson the winner, Bauer 2nd, Anderson 3rd, and Kelly is 4th into Clonmel.
And a second stage win then for Phil Anderson, but the more important thing was that Steve Bauer took 2nd place and Sean Kelly was only 4th, and as a result Steve Bauer is back in the yellow jersey. And there's confirmation of that. 2nd now Sean Kelly, just 3 seconds behind, and Kim Anderson is in 3rd place. It all now hangs on the final day.
Can Kelly do it? We've got that final day, day 5 of the Nissan International in Ireland coming. Steve Bauer just ahead of the All-Ireland hero Sean Kelly, a gap of just, 3 seconds between the two of them, with Kim Anderson in 3rd place. Well, day 5 took the race back to the finish in Dublin. We'll rejoin Phil Liggett.
And so to day 5, the last day of the race around Ireland, over 500 miles in all and 77 miles on this final day between Arklow and Dublin. Just one major climb, that of Devil's Glen. And don't forget that the two riders so far, Steve Bauer and Sean Kelly, are separated this morning by just 3 seconds. And such has been the standard of competition, this race has become a battle of seconds, because Sean Kelly yesterday was the leader in yellow by the same margin. That crash into Clonmel, and it's all been reversed. Kelly is now in green as leader of this race on points, the most consistent daily finisher. Bauer is in yellow, he's the leader on time, the fastest rider so far around the route around Ireland. Bauer of Canada has never led a major race in yellow before, and he's been a professional for 2 years, since in fact he won a silver medal in the Los Angeles Olympic Games. Kelly, wearing number 1 as last year's winner, keeps his eye on everybody. His own teammates, also dressed in yellow, but that's his casque, his team colours, also stay near him. Because on the route today, apart from the dog, there are also some very important sprints that offer time bonuses. And so the sprint finishes again in Dublin are going to be crucial. This race has projected 3 or 4 men. Phil Anderson, winner of 2 stages. Kelly, of course, and Bauer, of course. And after travelling around the Garden of Ireland for 5 days and the best part of 500 miles, the riders are still all together as at long last they approach the outskirts of the city of Dublin, where this race certainly now must be decided.
They're at Blackrock College and heading towards the first hot spot, and how important those hot spots are today. You don't need reminding that 3 seconds separate Steve Bauer and Sean Kelly. There are points, seconds, vital ones here at Merrion. Eric van der Aert there, Steve Bauer, the polka dotted blonde feet, the green of Sean Kelly. What a battle for this, and Kelly knows what's at stake here. 3 seconds for the first man to come to the preem at Merrion. Only seconds away from that now. Will it be Kelly? Will it be Bauer? And what about the others? Phil Anderson up there looking for something as well. The Panasonics may very well be working with Bauer today. It's the first of the hot spots, and Phil Anderson is making the break just picture left. Phil Anderson, the big Australian. Van der Arden on the left there. Van der Arden trying to lead it out, and it's Phil Anderson who takes it. Phil Anderson takes the hot spot. Kelly was second, Bauer was third, and now Stephen Roach. There are 2 seconds in it, and Bauer is still the leader.
Yes, Jimmy, Bauer is always glued to the wheel of Sean Kelly. He finished second and third in the sprint there, just second behind Sean Kelly. And it's getting very difficult for Sean Kelly to win now, but there's still 2 more sprints now on O'Connell Street at the GPO, so I think it's still possible, but it's very difficult for the moment for Sean Kelly, I'm sure.
Pat McQuaid, after 5 days of racing, it's down to mere second. Has a stage race ever been like this?
I think, Jimmy, you'd find it very, very difficult to look back in time and find a stage race that has finished so closely. It's so dramatic, and this finish is going to be so dramatic. It's really incredible, and I really don't think it is possible to find a race that is so close.
Tremendous shot here coming up along the River Liffey and going towards the toll bridge, and for this day they will not have to pay any toll. They've already done it, Pat.
Yes, the tolls have already been paid, but that Guinness Cast team have done a fantastic job all week. They are totally dedicated to Kelly, and they will do exactly as they're told, once they're able to do so, that is. Now, they're really under pressure now at the moment, because they've been 2 seconds and only 2 hotspot sprints, plus the final classification is very, very close, and that is really the pressure of the whole nation is on Sean Kelly now.
Coming up the North Wall now. Now is the time that Sean Kelly will find out, Stephen, who his true friends are in the peloton.
Yes, Jimmy. Everybody during the week will say, I'm a friend of Sean Kelly's, so I'll give you a dig out. But it's really now that he needs the hand from everybody, yeah.
Coming up towards and past the Customs House, under Butt Bridge, up into Eden Quay, and they'll turn then up into the mainstream of O'Connell Street. And my goodness me, the word is that the crowds are going to be dense when they come in here. Last year it was tremendous. What will it be in 1986 for the Nissan? The early signs are good. They cross O'Connell Bridge. They're into O'Connell Street, and here they go. And what a sight it is, Stephen.
Jimmy, I must say, I've never, in all my experience on the continent, I've only ever seen the Champs-Élysées with such big crowds. All the way in from Marco, through Bray, through Wicklow, everywhere. Here they go over the finish line for the first time, led by Paul Kimmage. At this particular point, maybe Paul Kimmage is giving Sean Kelly a dig out.
Who else is there? Yoho, Ackerman we saw, Jeff Leakins, Bowman, Steve Barr, Kim Anderson, Phil Thomas. But let's face it, it really is, as we said before, a head-to-head, a mighty, mighty battle between the 2 big men. 1 man in yellow, 1 man in green, but battling for the yellow jersey that matters most of all. And that is the final yellow jersey. They're on the hot spot lap, and this is the most vital one of the day.
Oh, it is. For Sean, he's got to get placed. If he gets placed on this one, if he even finishes in 1 place in front of Bauer, it means he gets another second, and it just gets him that much closer to that final yellow jersey. Paul Kimmage still at the front of the bunch, being followed by Alfred Ackerman of the Guinness Cast team. Ackerman looking back there to see where Sean is placed.
There's one other very important man around there, in around maybe 6th, 7th position, and that's Malcolm Elliott, and he's a very good sprinter indeed. Now, he is obviously a danger. Bauer, of course, will stick on Kelly's wheel. Elliott is obviously a danger, and it's very important for Kelly. Let us remind you, 2 seconds are in it. Steve Bauer is leading the Nissan Classic of 1986.
And for first over the line the next time round, it's a 3-second bonus. Second over the line gets a 2-second bonus, and third over the line gets a 1-second bonus. So those positions are very, very important.
Down O'Connell Street, GPO on the right. They'll turn down near O'Connell Bridge. There's the polka dot jersey. There's the motorbike taking his right up. There's the green of Kelly. What a battle it is up front here now.
There's Van der Poel leading out Anderson in front of Yoho. Sean Kelly's line in 4th place, with Steve Bauer in 5th place, always on Sean Kelly's wheel. This sprint is going to be very, very vital to the final.
Here they come for this sprint, the second hot spot of the day. It's Kelly is there, well placed. Barr is well placed as well, but is that Malcolm Elliott? It is. Kelly second, Barr is third. It's Malcolm Elliott who takes it. That's 3 seconds. It's 2 for Kelly. It's 1 second for Barr. Would you believe it? With one hot spot to go, that's 1 second. One solitary second, isn't it? Yes, Steve Barr is still the leader. It's a tremendous Nissan International Classic.
After 500 miles, Jimmy, this race is only, for the moment, only 1 second between the first and the second. It's really a fantastic battle for the final honours.
Yesterday it was O'Connell Street in Clonmel. Today it's O'Connell Street in Dublin. Only the colour of Kelly's garment has changed.
We've Bjorg Muller there at the front. Adri Wynand second.
Look at this Cass congregation. Look at those yellow jerseys of Cass. In there too is the yellow jersey of Barn. Believe me, he's not riding for Cass.
By no means, Jimmy, but the Guinness Cass riders are riding a very, very good race for Sean Kelly as he come now into the last sprint, the third and last sprint of the day, with 3 seconds for second, 2 seconds, and third, 1 second.
Now, here they're coming for this sprint now. This is going to be a very, very special one again.
Kelly's
Remember,
pretty well
just
placed
1
here.
second in it. Just 1 second between them. Look at Kelly's position. Look at Barr right at Kelly's wheel. Coming, who is going to take this one? Tremendous cycle racing. Just look at Sean Kelly's position. Barr's trying desperately not to lose him. Down they come O'Connell Street. They'll swing around. When they come to the GPO again, it will be that vital 3 seconds. Here they come into O'Connell Street, up towards the GPO. The battle is going on now. Kelly's coming late. Can he make it? Tremendous battle up front. Elliott there as well, and Kelly takes it. Sean Kelly has taken it from Malcolm Elliott. Steve Barr is third, and we make Kelly 1 second ahead.
That's true. That's a fantastic performance. And here's the replay now.
We see it again. Malcolm Elliott doing the leading out. Look at Barr back there in third position, and Kelly knows he's done it.
This is really great pro racing from the pros. They're really, really going well. They're now 10 seconds for first place on the line this time at the finish. 8 seconds for second place. 6 seconds for third place. So Sean Kelly must finish in front of Steve Bauer.
And there's the man they're riding for. Sprinter, climber, time trialist, the world's greatest all-rounder, Sean Kelly. Down they go, past the Garden of Remembrance. Now the Gate Theatre, the Ambassador Cinema. Coming towards the Parnell Monument, across the junction there. There's the Rotunda on their right, and they're into O'Connell Street, past the Gresham Hotel. And who's going to win this one?
Jimmy, this is real drama. There are very, very few sports events that can give you such a dramatic finish as this event has given us today.
And we are right in there with it, with our motorbike camera, with our aerial shots. And we hope you're enjoying it too. The people of Ireland proving that they love a bit of hype in their sport. Coming to the Bell Lap now, and there are the great stars of European and world cycling. All these men from around the world who've come for the Nissan 86, and a crowd in O'Connell Street, and all over Ireland wishing one man home. But let's not be too chauvinistic. This is a great race for professionals, and there's the mighty Kelly pumping it out, Stephen.
Sean, I'm sure, is starting to worry a little bit here now. He knows he must beat Stephen Bauer. He's beaten him in every sprint today. So hopefully this time around he'll beat him again.
Swinging round. Parnell Square there is.
Jacques Hanegraaff.
Jacques Hanegraaff up at the front of the bunch.
That's Jack Hanegraaff leading on the front. There's Tun Van Vliet going on the left-hand side.
Tun Van Vliet, yeah, the man who won the King of the Mountains. Is he trying to be the king of the stage as well? He's made the break. Our motorbike right with him.
Tun is only a half minute down on Sean Kelly. He has 10 seconds bonus for the first place. So all he needs is 20 seconds and he wins the overall.
Well, what a computer of a brain Kelly has had.
Yes, he'll work out exactly how much leeway he can give Tun Van Vliet. He knows that with 10-second bonus, that means there's less opportunity for Steve Bauer to beat him. All he has to do is finish in front of Bauer in this stage, and Sean has won the Nissan International Classic for the second year in succession.
That drip of perspiration on Kelly's nose you saw there. Here's Tun Van Vliet of the Polka Mountain Climbers jersey, battling down O'Connell Street. The crowd's cheering him on. They want to see great cycling. They're seeing great cycling. But Kelly has to watch Bauer. Bauer has to watch Kelly. The Nissan is at stake. Here goes Steve Bauer trying to mark everything that's going. The CAS team have done a marvellous job. But Van Vliet is up there. There's Kelly in the jersey. Bauer trying to mark Kelly. Bauer's got to get in front of Kelly. Van Vliet looks like he'd be the stage winner. There's the scene. Tun Van Vliet has taken him out. Tun Van Vliet, the mountain goat, the king of the mountains, the polka dot man, is coming up towards the GPO now, and he looks behind them. He can now look in front of him. He can now look to the heavens. He's the stage winner. But the big battle is GC behind, and here they come behind. Van der Arden is in there to be second, but Sean Kelly is third, and Kelly has won the Nissan again. What a man. What a cyclist. The replay of the win. It's Tun Van Vliet, the Dutchman. He has a look around. Yes, Tun, you can acclaim it now. You are the stage winner. But behind you, there is something big going on.
Indeed there is, Jimmy. Out of sight of our cameras, Van der Arden is second, but look at this sprint behind for third place. And it's Kelly, the guy in green, who puts his hand up and snatches the bonus. And after 5 days and 500 miles, this photo shows the gap between the two top riders. A gap that made Sean Kelly the overall winner of the race in the very last sprint on the very last day. Dublin had somebody to be proud of, and he was Irish. And perhaps it was the home crowds that made the difference. Did they, Sean?
Yes, well, it was really, it really moved me, it really got me going. As I said just a few minutes ago to the journalists, I think if it had been another race, well, I would have lost all my morale with all the problems around this race. The people behind me all the week, and today the people was, the crowd was so big, just unbelievable, and everybody roaring for me really got me going, and it gave me that bit extra to give a bigger effort.
But apart from the CAS boys, you also found out who your friends were in the peloton today.
That's true, yes. I think, unfortunately for Steve Bauer, I think I had more friends than him. A lot of the riders, as I said, when it was the time for the hotspots, a lot of riders left me a space to get through. Where another race on the continent, that wouldn't happen. I think a lot of riders are hoping that I'd win the race here because, being here in Ireland and, there's so much support. A lot of the riders were very, very helpful to me today.
But the day was won by Tun Van Vliet, the four-stage victory for the Panasonic team. Eric van der Arden, the winner in Galway, was second on the final stage, but Kelly was in third slot and Bauer was fourth. And that was the crucial difference, because at the end of the overall race, Sean Kelly was the winner by just 3 seconds, and it was all down to that final sprint. Steve Bauer had to be content with second place, and Kim Anderson, the winner in Killarney, was third. What a great race this has been, and I'm sure Kelly, Bauer and Anderson will agree that there's never been one quite like it before in Ireland.
Absolutely right, Sean Kelly. Your man does it, the toast of Ireland once again. Well, if you're expecting to see motor racing at this point, the Silverstone Formula 3 meeting,
I just have to get used to it. But I couldn't believe Nancy was inherently fickle. Not Nancy. She was as genuine as rain. I wrote to her for an explanation, asking her to reply care of our agent, Joe Bosenby, in London, our next stop. First, I signed the letter, Love, Richard. And I changed it to yours, sincerely.
Have a look at those. I bet one of them. Don't look, you're tearing them now. Give us them back. Give us them back. Oh, look, now.